everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. And my camera isn't shaking too much, so you have a steady view. I wanted to do this live, but I got a lot of things I need to get done. And I'm probably going to come back and revisit it during a live stream a little bit later. But I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I'm hoping that my thoughts are cohesive enough that what I'm about to talk about makes sense. You know, we get on here and with what I do with the Visionetics Institute, the Odyssey Media Group, Master Fitness 21, the things I do where I have clients, and my job is to prepare them, train them, whatever it is. You know, it's a constant effort to share the positive. And even when I'm on dealing with the issues in the Black community through the Odyssey Project, the Black Man League, Restoring Ghettos Forgotten Daughters, those programs, it's about being positive. It's about being the source that people are able to tap into. But I was sharing with someone who I think genuinely is concerned about me. The fact that rarely does that come from the opposite direction towards me. This isn't a rant or a complaint. This is me talking because I can't be the only person. As men, we rarely talk about or share some of the things that we deal with, that we are confronted with, because of how we are generally judged as Black men. The last thing a Black man wants to do is come across as being weak. So he's never going to say he needs help. He's never going to say he needs someone to prop him up. He's never going to say that. So he sits there, and we were just talking about how many times someone checks in and just say, "Hey, you're good," and it's crazy. You know, that with everything I get. And the thing is, the people who ask me, am I good, are the people who are paying me to make sure they're good. It's crazy. You know, obviously I'm doing a good enough job with them. They've been with me for a year or more, and still working with me. But those are the people who are, you know, literally checking and, you know, whatever. But with the work I do, you know, in so many different areas, it takes its toll. It takes its toll emotionally, psychologically, physically. Where I'm headed right now is to the gym, because I refuse to go another day where I'm sitting down because I'm trying to make something happen and I miss a workout because I just left the doctor's office. Wasn't happy with what I heard, but it's all on me because I make the decision on what I'm doing and what I'm not doing. And so there are definitely some lifestyle changes to be made, some lifestyles and rituals to be revisited. But my thing is, in the Black community specifically, we're going to have to do a better job of creating an environment and a safe space for our brothers. Don't get me wrong, you guys know the depth at which I visit the traversions of Black women. You guys know how much I go in for Black women. You know, I'm not one that's going to come out attacking my sisters. I will call you out when I think you need to hear something, but it's always going to be in love, and it's going to be done in a respectful way. I'm the same thing with my brothers. I'm not about embarrassing anybody. I'm not about attacking anybody. I'm about finding a place of love, and a part of love is being there for each other. You saw when I talked about the situation when I shared the video of Bryce's mom, you know, and where she was, that I have a problem with the way we react versus being proactive. And what I mean by that is, last time I checked, they were pretty much at 100,000 a few days after they started the GoFundMe, after Bryce killed himself. No, I don't know how long he was going through the episode he was going through, how long he had been dealing with the pending psychotic break that he experienced, that disconnected him from reality and took him to another place that made him do something that he said he would never do. But I do know that when that family needed help, and there's a lot of people that, been going in on her and stuff like that, and I just see things differently. I don't care about the mistakes a person makes. I think that sometimes a person discovers a purpose when they could feel that nobody should be there for them, but then they find somebody that is. Sometimes people wake up then. They've been making decision after decision that's questionable. And yet when they feel nobody's going to be there, there's somebody there. That can happen. There's no one way to push a person into that epiphany that changes their life. But I don't believe in just letting people suffer. And maybe that's what's getting to me now, because I'm putting so much of myself into so many different areas. And I was just telling the person that asked me about that this morning, the depths of what's going on. And it's not something I talk about a lot. I don't ever pretend that, I have it all together, and there aren't times. I just don't share when I go through, and that's probably on me, because I think I've grown used to being the person everybody leans on, and for the most part, it's all good. I'm not a whiner. I'm not a complainer. But I just look at where we're going, and I talk to enough brothers to know that I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that people look at and say, oh, he got it. He got it. I look at the work we do at the Odyssey project. I get a lot of people tell me big ups, you appreciate it. We're proud of you. And I take the sentiment. I do. I get the sentiment, and I accept the sentiment. I accept the thanks. I accept the verbal emotion, the verbal gratitude, or the written gratitude, however it comes. But when it comes to showing the organization, showing my wife, how much we appreciate it, by backing what we're doing and not putting so much of the strain of the stress on me personally. There are those that have, and for you, I thank you. But when it comes to looking at what needs to be done versus what's there, there is such a disparity. When it looks, on a personal note, outside of what I'm doing in the community, just what I'm trying to do in being a man, where we need a network. We need somewhere where men can plug in. Where men can plug in and say, I'm burnt out. Where men can plug in and say, I don't have an answer. Where men can plug in and say, I'm overwhelmed, and not be judged, not be told to man up. Because see, some of us have been manning up since we left home. Some of us raised children, went through things, made bad decisions, good decisions, and stood up every time and held themselves accountable and keep pushing. Some of us are there when people call, no matter what's going on. Some of us are in situations that seem irreversible, fighting to reverse the impact of negative forces in the world around them. Some people get up and think about some of us get up and think about other people before we think about ourselves, literally each and every day. And we need to unplug. I mean, we need to plug into something. We need to unplug from all of that and plug into something that regenerates us, rejuvenates us. And men, it may be us. We may need to create our own space and retreat. And go into it and deal with it. Because if we continue to allow ourselves to really go through this and take a beating with no other, with a loss of words and no other word to define what I'm really to take this beating constantly and not have a time to heal, rejuvenate, and restore ourselves, we aren't as effective as we could be. And we've got to find that, after the talk I've had with the doc, I'm not ready to leave this place. And so I got a lot of work to do. And, and I was just kind of feeling some kind of way. I'll just be honest. I was feeling some kind of way about how hard I go in the paint every day for the things I'm passionate about. And, and I'm asking the question, am I doing more damage to myself with little? And my thing is, when I'm able to help somebody, I'm able to help somebody, and there's no better feeling than touching somebody's life. And so I know the answer, but sometimes it just feels like, it sucks. I don't know any other word to put there. I mean, it's not a whole lot of ways to define where I'm at right now. It sucks. So I'm encouraging people, man. Let's find a way to do this thing a better way, because a person only has so much, and then that's it. If it's not being restored, if they're not being invigorated, it's a problem. And like I said, I'm not ready to give up on my people. I'm not ready to stop, but I'm not ready to die either. Just so much going on that I'm obviously not going to share online or in public, but I go hard in the paint, and I don't see an end in sight because it's so much work to be done. But it gets tough when up close you're pretty much in the pit with the people you're working with, but that's it. And when the people you're working with are looking at you because it's your vision, your dream, your organization, and they see you doing everything you can, but at wit's end, they get discouraged. Somebody look and say, man, if this dude is doing all this shit and this is how it looks, maybe I ain't ready for this. But for those of you who do, say a little something to me beyond thank you and all that. And like I said, it's all appreciated. I'm not here to crap on anybody's contribution to what we do. From the thank yous to the donations, large and small, to the sharing of the links and all the other stuff. I appreciate it. Please don't think I don't. I'm just at a point where there's so much to be done and so little to do it with. And then you're putting all yourself into it, and it's literally impacting you health-wise. So I've got a lot of decisions to make. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take care of myself. I'm not ready to leave my family. I believe I got way too much work to be done. So I've got work to do. And I'm going to leave it at that. For those of you who want to support the organization, you can do that. For those of you who want to talk to me about starting your own organization and taking on some of this work, I'm up for that. Help is needed in so many different ways. But we've got to get better at being there for our people who are there for us. And I'll leave it at that note. I'm out. Peace.